Hey everyone, welcome to 2 Minutes Tuesday with Bala. This week we are going to look into Azure Container Apps real life use cases. Let's get started. Use cases. The first and foremost, like we discussed, it's all used for microservices. The second one is background processing if you have a job that's long running, or third, specifically, it's used for batch jobs. If you're having a background activity, you want to run a set of jobs in a batch. And most of the data processing, if you're having a data layer, you want the data to be processed. For example, converting a Word document into a PDF or image conversion and things like that. You have any data related activity, then you can use this. And mostly it's used for event driven application. So if there is a trigger, then you want to send an email and those kind of things. You could use that for event driven application. And the foremost, it's basically used for legacy application modernization. So if you have an existing application, you want to modernize it to the container and then have it more stateless, then you would use this. So where all can you use this? The first one is Azure App Services. Wherever you have an app service to run a small website or a service or a web service or a API end client, you could use that. And if you're planning to downgrade from AKS to a lightweight container ecosystem, then you could use that. The third one is wherever you're using load balancing, Azure Container Apps automatically handles that for you. So Azure functions are CPU heavy. So in those cases, you could use the ACA. And then if you're moving away from the legacy IaaS application from on-premises, then you could probably use this. And then it's much easier and cost effective when you're using it for dev or stage environments for an AKS environment. So what is the path forward? Like how would you start and where would you go? Basically, you could start with an Azure Function Apps in this example. So you're doing a web service, you started as Azure Function Apps, then eventually you can move it into the Container Apps environment. And then you start using the Dapper for like the sidecar to communicate between two different container apps. Then eventually you can stay within that ecosystem, or you can move it to an AKS kind of an environment, which is much more powerful if the workload increases. So the limitations, cold start latency, you might see that in consumption-based container apps. Second one, it's all Windows container apps support. So that might be a problem for few people if they're trying to use other environments. Auto scaling is limited with KDA. So with KDA, you have only HTTP based, or there are like only 4 or 5 limited options that you can help to monitor and scale your container apps. Dapper as a sidecar, yeah, it comes back, but it's not always the latest version of Dapper available there. So it might be few versions behind. Last foremost, you don't have any controls over the K8 environment or the Dapper or any APIs exposed. That's the whole point of having this container apps ecosystem. That's all for this week. Thanks again for watching. See you next time. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again.